Hi there, I'm Natasha. This is my channel, Always Be Crafting, and welcome or welcome back. And today is Saturday. It is the 23rd of May, and that means a couple of things actually. It's Saturday, which means on Saturdays I sew. It also means it is the Saturday of a 3-day weekend. Here in the United States, it is Memorial Day weekend. Now, this is a time to memorialize, to recognize fallen soldiers, anyone who has served in the military, who is no longer with us. It is a time to remember them. Some people get together and have barbecues to remember them. Some people go shopping. I don't know how that helps remember anybody, but you do you, right? How am I celebrating? Well, I don't personally know anyone who is a fallen soldier, if you will. I don't have a lot of people in my acquaintance that are military. I do have some family members and some friends who have been military, but I have not had to bear the burden, I guess, or have the heartache of losing someone in a war or losing someone to suicide due to, post-traumatic stress or something like this. So I'm very lucky that that has not touched my life. But if it has touched your life, please know that I'm thinking of you and sending you my love. What am I doing today? Because it's Saturday, and on Saturdays, I sew. I am working today on my quilt blocks for my Craftivist block group, my Craftivist Quilting Bee. You would have seen me talk about this last month in April when I was extremely late. I was a week late sending in my bee blocks last month. It was the FPP, Foundation Paper Piece, Sing a Rainbow, where I had done them and then realized that I had used pattern fabric because it was fine, but every other person had used solid fabric. And the only advantage of me being extremely late in sending them in was I had the opportunity to redo my blocks and then send them in. So they are a better match for that Queen Bee's quilt. She has received them, so all is good there. And now I am doing the blocks for this month. This month's May Queen Bee has chosen not a foundation paper piece. It's actually traditionally pieced. It is a scrappy flag. So it looks like the American flag, which kind of feels appropriate for Memorial Day. And but she has requested that we change the colors of the flag to be sort of like what's on our mind, what America means to us, maybe right now, or what we're hoping for, or things that we find are important. And we are supposed to do 2 blocks if possible. 1 block, absolutely, but 2 blocks if possible. And so I have cut up my pieces for 1 block is completely cut, and the other block you've watched me cut half my blocks, and I have just finished pulling the other half of the blocks fabrics. So the first block is all blues. So instead of being red, white, and blue, it's just all blues. There's still going to be the white, of course, because you need some contrast. But the corner, I'll put up like a picture. Maybe I'll move my head to the side so I can put it here over this chaotic mess that's right there. The corner where the stars are is I'm going for the darker blues, and then the stripes will be my lighter blues. That'll be the differentiation. The blues, why have I chosen blues for one of my blocks? Blue is important to me because blue is the color associated with diabetes and diabetes research. And as you know, if you've been here before, if you're new, now you're gonna know that my younger son has type 1 diabetes. It used to be called, or it might still be called in other parts of the world, but here in the United States, it used to be called juvenile diabetes. That term is no longer used because type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease that can strike at any time in your life. You can be 40 years old and get type 1 diabetes because, again, it's an autoimmune disease. It used to be called juvenile diabetes because it's extremely deadly. And it used to, when it would strike children, they would die. So they're like, oh, this is a different diabetes than type 2. Type 2 doesn't kill you right away. It'll slow you down and hurt you in a lot of ways. But it, generally speaking, is not as deadly. Now, of the people in the United States, at least, that have diabetes, only, I should probably double check my numbers, but last I looked, only approximately 6% of all diabetics in the United States were type 1 diabetics. So obviously, type 2 diabetes is the more common at like 94% of diabetics are type 2 diabetics. And so that means the research the big money tends to go to type 2. Just what happens in here, in this world we live in. Now, there is no cure, and it is incredibly deadly. The only thing you can do for type 1 diabetes is give insulin. Insulin is important because insulin acts as a key, if you will, to unlock the cells in your organs to allow sugar from the bloodstream into the organs. I'm saying organs, not muscles. Muscles can take sugar out of the bloodstream anytime they want. Muscle. But your organs, your brain, your heart, your liver, all those things that keep us alive, your organs need access to sugar also, because sugar is, energy. Carbohydrates, they're energy. They keep us going. And if you don't have insulin to unlock the door, if you will, to allow sugar into your organs, you'll go into organ failure. And also your blood tends to become very thick, like it's overly laden with sugar. There's like too much sugar in your blood. So all your vessels get kind of stretched out, and things like your eyes, where your vessels are very, very tiny. And blindness is one of the main things that can go wrong with diabetics, because too much sugar in your bloodstream over time will break down those teeny tiny little cells in your eyes that are so fragile. Also, your kidneys. You hear a lot of people who go into kidney failure because your kidneys are cleaning your blood, right? And if your kidneys are overloaded with too much sugar because there's too much sugar in your blood, because there's no insulin taking the sugar out of your blood, then your kidneys are working overtime and they can't do it. It's too much work. So, it's a lot. So, there was these amazing doctors and researchers 100 years ago who discovered, I'll put their names on, but they discovered a way to help create insulin in a laboratory instead of having to take it like from cows, and this was such a important discovery 100 years ago because all of a sudden children were not dying. Hallelujah, let's keep kids alive, that they didn't want this to become a bargaining chip for anyone, or for any one pharmaceutical company to not have access to this cure. So they donated, or they sold, if you will, the recipe, the formula, for $1 to, I think it was the University of Toronto, and therefore it was available for all people, to all laboratories, to go out and make insulin so everyone could have the cure, to save humanity, to save us. And I don't know about you, if you're paying attention to politics in the United States, but we've got a lot of problems with insurance companies, health insurance companies specifically, and what they're doing and how they are trying to make things incredibly expensive for people. And I'm worried, so I've chosen this color for my block because this is something I'm very concerned about, that my son in the future may not have access to this life-saving insulin, because pharmaceutical companies will be like, oh, but we're going to brand it as this and we're going to charge $600 for something they did not invent. They didn't do any research to create. This has been around for 100 years, but now they are finding loopholes to be able to charge people exorbitant amounts of money. And there are people who are already dying from lack of insulin. And it really bothers me. It really, really bothers me. And again, funding always goes towards type 2 diabetes because it's sexier, because more adults have it. Again, it's the one, if you're going to get diagnosed with diabetes, it's the one you're going to get diagnosed with 94% of the time, I think. And that's where all the money and research goes. So I really worry. I really worry about where funding is going to go for research. Are people actually going to try to have a cure? We were really close to, like, a lot of research was happening, and cell replacement, like stem cell replacement. We've been really close to a lot of breakthroughs with actual cures and teaching the body how to recreate, I think there was an islet therapy, ISLET, I think, islet therapy, putting in new cells into the pancreas to reteach it how to create insulin again. So there's been like all this amazing stuff happening, and now all this funding has disappeared. And it really bothers me because I love my son and I want him to live a long, healthy life. So that's why one of my blocks is blue. And that was a really long story. So I apologize. Maybe editing Natasha is going to go back and decide whether all of that stays in or not. She might leave it all in though, because it's important to know. All right. So the other block I'm doing is blue and green. No, excuse me, green and purple. You would have seen me pull the purples, I think was the last thing you saw on the Speedy Fast. So purple and green, well, they're my favorite colors. So that's one thing that's just advantageous for me. I have lots of greens and purples green and purple fabrics. But more important than that, they are actually the colors associated with women's rights. And I'm a woman. I like my rights. I don't want my rights to disappear. And I'm a little worried because, again, in our current climate, my biggest concern is I have a passport. Like, I'm okay right now. I can vote. I have passport. I have proof. So even though I changed my last name and I took my husband's last name, it is not the last name that is on my birth certificate. I am not worried about being able to vote, but I'm worried about all those other women and these cockamamie bills that are saying that if your last name is not the same last name as on your birth certificate, you will lose the ability to vote. And that affects women. That does not affect men, because traditionally speaking, women have been taking men's last names in marriage, not the other way around. And many women take their husband's last names. I did it because I wanted to have the same last name as my children. And that was my choice, and honestly, my maiden name and my married name, and I hate the term maiden because I was not maiden, but my birth name, my name given at birth, and the name I've chosen through marriage, as far as how they sound, they're equal. And not one didn't sound better next to my first name than the other. They're both derivations from the German language. And I was like, I don't care. I just want to have the same last name as my kids. So when I go into the school, they say Mrs. Fenster. Like, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Like, here's my son, so-and-so Fenster. Oh, you must be their mom, Mrs. Fenster. And that's all I wanted. I didn't even care about the Mrs. I actually prefer Ms. I hate that women change the front of their name. I'm not going to get into all the crazy things. I think there are too many problems associated with what we women have to do with our names. It's ridiculous. I prefer Ms. over everything else, because Miss, you belong to your father. Mrs., you belong to your husband. But Ms., you belong to yourself. So that's what I prefer. But I know other people are going to call me Mrs. Whatever. I should have become a doctor so they could have called me doctor, but I didn't. So here we are. Anyways, that's a whole lot of my crazy in the morning. And I'm supposed to be sewing. That's what I'm supposed to be doing today. I'm supposed to be talking about sewing. This is what you get sometimes. I hope you don't mind. I hope you're here because you like it. I hope you like my crazy. So, yes, I will start sewing. I have to finish cutting all the purple fabrics, and then I will lay them out, and then I will start sewing the blocks together. So that's what you'll get to see. If I come back on and talk, it'll be because I talk you through what I'm doing. It is a free pattern, this scrappy flag. So I have not started sewing it yet, but maybe when I do, I'll come tell you about it. I don't think it'll be a tutorial because I've never done it before. It'd be very pompous of me to think I could teach you how to do something I've never done before. But who knows? Who knows what we will do? Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you come back. I hope you like what you see. If you have any questions or thoughts or comments, I would love to hear from you. This last couple of weeks have been wacky, and I feel like I've been all over the place. So if you've come back and you're still here, thank you. And if you're new, welcome to the chaos world. Thank you for being here. Back to cutting. Hello, I'm back. I am going to start laying out my quilt blocks. I actually just cut a couple more blue squares because I wasn't loving all my blue squares from before. And I found more blue scraps. So I'm going to quickly lay out some blue things here. And yeah, let's put together the blue flag first. Hi again. Okay, so it's like 2 hours later. I stopped for breakfast. Like I stopped sewing because my hips hurt from sitting for so long. So I stood up. I got breakfast. I'm good. Oh, I'm a little crooked. Sorry. Okay. I was going to talk and then I had to focus, and I can't talk and focus at the same time. But you should have seen, this is incredibly high, so sorry. And I'm not going to futz with it. You would have seen me lay out my purple and green flag and my blue flag and put in the white squares. And then you would have seen that I then had to draw for my half square triangles along the back of I have 3 1/4 inch squares and 2 1/2 inch squares. Those are the ones that are getting turned into half square triangles. The squares, the white squares that are 2 3/4 inch squares, those are just solid squares for the top border and the bottom border. And I feel like I did not pull enough of the white squares for the sides because I didn't lay it out. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to move over to my sewing machine and I'm going to switch my thread to my piecing thread. Usually when I sew, I almost exclusively use Gutermann Mara 100. Is that the number on it? Gutermann Mara 100. That's like the thread I use. It's a polyester thread and I use it for everything all the time when I'm piecing and whatever. But since this is for the Quilting Bee, what I've been doing, like I did this with my FPP as well. For the Quilting Bee, I am using cotton thread because it's for someone else's quilt. And most people prefer cotton thread in their cotton quilts. So I am going to be switching to my Perfect Cotton Plus. It's from Quilter Select. It is a very thin thread. It's not a 50 weight. I think it's like a, I don't remember what the weight is, but, oh, it's 60 weight. That's it. It's a 60 weight cotton, so it's a little bit thinner than a 50 weight. 50 weight is like the standard. If you go to the store and you get like a Gutermann sew all, that's a 50 weight thread. So 60 weight thread is just a slight bit thinner. It's very strong. Quilter Select. It's a very strong thread. But because it's a little bit thinner, it's going to make your seams a little flatter because it's not, the thread is not taking up additional space in your seams because that matters. So the color, what is the color? Oh, it's just a number. It doesn't even have a name. It's like QST60-0482. It's basically light gray. I always use light gray in everything I do. And that's what I do. So whether I'm using Aurifil, which I usually only have 50 weight Aurifil, so a tiny bit thicker, also a cotton thread. But like I said, I have the Quilter Select 60 weight, a little bit thinner. So that's what I'm using for piecing. And I'm going to be switching up my thread, doing my half square triangles, laying things out. I'm going to do my flag blocks first because I set them up so I can web them together. If you know what webbing is, I'm going to web my flags together and then, wait, what am I going to do? Am I going to web my flags? I should probably look at the diagram. I think the diagram shows you how you should do it because I think you're supposed to web the entire thing, top and bottom. I'll double check because I might have to add white squares to each end of my flag. I think my flag beginning and end, each side needs a white square. But I'll start with my half square triangles. Yes, that's what I'll do. I'll start with my half square triangles and go from there. And I will check the directions. And then I'll be webbing together my blocks and putting them together. I think they're good. On the blue, if you were watching, a lot of my light blues aren't that light. So on some of them, I'm flipping them upside down. And that's something you can do. It's totally legal. You can do whatever you want. It's your quilt. Even though this is going to someone else, it's still a method that is practiced. If you don't want to use the front side of your fabric, you can use the back side of your fabric. It's okay. It's okay to do. Some fabric is screen printed and some fabric is woven, like the thread, each individual thread is in there. So it's going to be very similar on the front and the back. So you just have to decide for your fabric, which makes the most sense. And it doesn't work all the time, but sometimes you just like, I like this color, but it's maybe a little too bright. I need it toned down. And you flip it over and you're like, oh, look at that. It's just a little bit lighter because generally speaking, when your fabric is woven, there's usually more white threads. I don't remember if it's in the warp or the weft because I don't do weaving, but your warp and your weft are your threads that go up and down and your threads that go side to side. And I don't remember when fabric is done, which ones are done with the white threads and which ones are done with the threads used for designing the fabric. So I want to say your warp is the white threads, but who knows? I'm not a weaver. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Half square triangles. here we go. Okay, it's me again, this time handheld, and I have all the pieces laid out where they belong. I've done the half square triangles as evidenced in such locations, and I think I'm happy with the overall plan for the blue, and I think I'm just going to start sewing them together in rows. And then I'll do the same for the purple and green. So hopefully I will put you back on Zoomy Fast over at the sewing machine, and you will see me sew them all up together. Hi again. I just wanted to wrap up the day. Today is, I'm very close to camera. Today has been a lot of starting and stopping. I'm still in my pajamas because it has been truly the first day in a long time where I could rest and relax, and it has been so needed, so wonderful. And spending time with my family. I helped my older son bake a birthday treat for one of his best friends. And so I've been baking. I've been watching movies with my husband. Well, not movies, like we watched a documentary and a TV show. And I've been sewing, and I've been hanging out and laughing, and it's been wonderful. But I did get one block finished. It's not perfect. I really need to practice my half square triangles. I'm not loving this corner and this corner that much. I love the fabric in this corner, but I don't love how my half square triangle came out. But I think the block itself is pretty cool. So I think it'll all be forgiven in the end. And I have one more block to do. And I hope that my quilt bee, Queen Bee, is okay with an imperfect block. And I think I saw her Instagram post today. If I'm remembering correctly, I think she said the title of the quilt is going to be What America Means to Me. And so I really feel like the colors I've chosen and what it means, what America means to me is a place where my children can grow up without fear of losing health coverage, and where the women I know and love, the young women, the older women that I know and love, and even the ones I don't know or don't love, can live in without the fear of losing their rights, whether that be to voting or to access to reproductive rights or any of their rights. We have fought really hard. Our foremothers fought really hard, and I don't want to go backwards. That's really what it comes down to. This world has enough. We have enough to share, and that's all I want. I want us to learn how to share and to slay the dragons, because we are living in a time of dragons and we need to become dragon slayers. That's all there is to it. So those are my quilt blocks. I'll work on the other one tomorrow because tomorrow's a day off. I have a 3-day weekend. I haven't had a 3-day weekend since what, January? December? Something? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've had like 3 days in a row with no work commitments. And I'm excited. I hope you are taking care of yourself. I hope you are able to take care of the ones around you. I hope you are able to pay it forward out into your community. And that's my hope for all of you. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day.